Welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because, let's face it, we're tackling one of the absolute biggest, most overwhelming subjects out there: demystifying your life's purpose. We so often treat finding our purpose like it's some kind of treasure hunt, right? Like we're searching high and low for a magical, hidden chest of gold that's going to suddenly make everything in life make sense. We think it's buried under a giant red X on a map somewhere out there in the world. But today, our goal is to completely flip that mindset. We're going to move away from this idea of finding a hidden treasure, and instead, we're going to focus on how to consciously build a meaningful life, literally brick by brick, right from the ground up.
So, have you ever asked yourself, what is my purpose? I mean, be honest. It's a heavy, kind of intimidating question, isn't it? Maybe you've looked at other people, your friends, your colleagues, maybe even just strangers on the internet, and thought, wow, they seem to know exactly what they want out of life, while you still feel entirely confused. It's just incredibly easy to look around and feel this deep internal struggle, feeling totally lost while everyone else appears to have their lives perfectly figured out and mapped down to the very last detail.
Well, if that's you, I really want this next thought to sink in. You are not alone. Please, do not worry. This anxiety you might be feeling, it is completely 100% normal. Countless people spend years, honestly, sometimes decades, searching for their purpose. Actually, I remember reading about a wildly successful author who didn't write her first book until she was well into her 40s, and she'd bounced between like a dozen unrelated careers before that. The confusion you feel is just a natural part of the human experience. It's absolutely not a sign that you're failing. It's actually a sign that you are actively seeking meaning, which is a wonderful thing.
Okay, let's dive into section 1, the myth of sudden purpose. There is no single big moment. So let's systematically dismantle the lies we're constantly told about finding our calling. We so often fall for what we can call the epiphany myth. It's this belief that we need one big, cinematic, lightning bolt moment that just changes absolutely everything. You know the trope, right? The protagonist sits under a tree, an apple falls, and suddenly their entire destiny is crystal clear. So many of us sit around waiting for that perfect idea or a clear sign to just drop from the sky. But grounding ourselves in reality shows us a vastly different picture. The truth is, purpose isn't something you just suddenly wake up and discover one morning. It's cultivated, slowly. It grows as you learn new skills, as you meet different people, and as you try things you've literally never done before. It's built steadily through your everyday choices and experiences, not these sudden lightning strikes.
And here's another huge mistake people make: believing that purpose is just a fancy synonym for a perfect career. Now, while work can absolutely be meaningful, your purpose can come from literally anywhere: helping others, learning something new, raising a family, creating art, teaching, or honestly, just making someone's day a little better. I was reading this fascinating story in the source material about a retired accountant. He felt entirely lost after ending his 50-year career. But then he started volunteering just 2 hours a week to read to kids at his local library. That small, simple act of sharing stories became his new anchor. It completely revitalized him. We often think that to have purpose, we need to change the whole world, but you don't. Sometimes your life's purpose is simply about changing one person's world.
Moving right along to section 2, the headlight principle. Focus on the next step.
This brings us to an incredibly freeing concept from our source material that is going to take a ton of pressure off your shoulders. You don't need to see the whole road. You only need to know your next step. Think about it like this. Imagine you're driving your car on a dark, winding road at night. Your headlights only let you see a very short distance ahead, right? Maybe a couple of 100 feet. You can't see the final destination, you can't see the sharp turns that are miles away, but that short, illuminated distance is exactly enough to keep you moving forward safely. Life operates the exact same way. The crucial point here is that you do not have to know your entire future. You don't need a map of the next 40 years meticulously color-coded and planned out. You only need the courage to take the immediate next step right in front of you. Which leads us perfectly into section 3, steps to build purpose. Start your journey today. So, how do we actually do this? Let's shift our narrative from theory to practice with 3 practical steps you can use to start building your purpose right now. First up, become curious. Try new hobbies, read different books, travel if you can, volunteer, or maybe try learning a new language. Every single new experience teaches you something about yourself, both what you love and actually what you absolutely cannot stand, which, by the way, is equally valuable information. Second, track your energy. Pay attention to what gives you life. Ask yourself, do I feel truly alive doing this? The activities that make time just fly by, where you completely lose track of the hours, those are massive clues about your underlying strengths and passions. And third, stop comparing. Remember, social media makes it look like everyone has everything figured out, but people only share their best moments, right? Their big promotions, their highlight reels, not their internal doubts. Your journey is uniquely yours. Comparing your messy beginning to someone else's polished middle is only going to lead to deep discouragement. Now, here is a surprising truth we discovered in the source material. Serve others to find yourself. It sounds almost counterintuitive, doesn't it? Especially in a culture that's just so hyper-focused on self-optimization. But many people discover profound meaning when they actually step outside of their own heads and focus a little less on themselves. Consider this: a small act of kindness, sharing your knowledge, actively listening to a friend, or supporting someone during a tough time. These actions create a deep, lasting sense of fulfillment that endless inward self-reflection sometimes simply cannot achieve. When you lighten someone else's load, you very often inadvertently give shape and meaning to your own life. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how we have to completely reframe failure. We tend to view mistakes as the absolute enemy, right? We're terrified of taking a wrong step. But every single successful person has failed many, many times. Just think of Thomas Edison's thousands of failed filaments before finally inventing the light bulb, or literally any great entrepreneur whose first 3 businesses went completely under. Failure does not mean you're on the wrong path. It usually just means you're learning the necessary nuances of that path. We need to redefine mistakes as teachers. They aren't neon signs telling you to give up. They are essential, unavoidable lessons that bring you closer to deeply understanding yourself and what actually works. And that brings us to section 4, the evolving journey. Allow yourself to grow. As we move into the final phase of this explainer, we really need to discuss macro patience. We live in such a fast-paced world. Everything feels instantaneous. We want quick results, instant success, immediate answers to our life's deepest questions delivered like next-day shipping. But you have to remember, purpose takes time to grow strong roots. Just like a massive, sturdy oak tree needs years and years to establish its root system deep in the earth before it can withstand a storm, your purpose develops little by little. It builds through daily habits, quiet resilience, and consistent effort. You have to actively push back against the urge to rush the process. Be incredibly patient with yourself as those roots take hold. Think about how your purpose builds over the years. The person you are today, right now, with your current dreams, that person will not be exactly the same 5 or 10 years from now. And you know what? That is a fantastic, completely normal part of life. In 5 years, your dreams are going to grow and evolve as you're exposed to new ideas and new people. In 10 years, your priorities will naturally change. Maybe family becomes more important, or perhaps a completely new cause captures your heart. You are not locked into one single trajectory. You don't have to stay the exact same forever, holding tightly to a goal you set when you were literally a completely different person. Your purpose is absolutely allowed to change right alongside you. So I want to leave you with this provocative final thought today. Instead of asking yourself a heavy, paralyzing macro question like, what is my life's total singular purpose? I challenge you to completely drop that weight. Just let it go. Instead, ask yourself this simple micro question. What meaningful step can I take today? Maybe it's reading one chapter of a book, learning one new skill, helping one person, or just starting one small project you've been putting off. Your purpose isn't waiting for you in some distant imagined future. It's being actively created right now, every single day, by the choices you make and the courage you have to keep moving forward, even when you don't have all the answers. Just keep taking it one step at a time. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.